Hello to all the attendees of this presentation. We would like to thank the conference organizers for the opportunity to pre-record our lecture. My name is Alon Mozes, and next to me is Dr. Yael Sofer. We are both based in Israel and unfortunately cannot attend the conference in person due to the ongoing war, which as of June 19th has led to the closure of Israel borders and suspension of flights. Our presentation is based on a research project initiated by the Tel Aviv Municipality Conservation Unit. The project aimed to document the city open spaces from the 1950s to the 1970s and to propose strategies for the preservation in an era of rapid urban development. The concept of continuity engages the dimension of space and time and function as foundational principle in multiple disciplinary domains. In essence, it denotes an unbroken sequence, spatial or temporal, that reflect the interrelation between matter, memory, space, and temporality. While continuity is acknowledged as a central value in historic urban landscape frameworks, policy and theoretical documents often invoke it abstractly, offering limited concrete methods for its realization. This research seeks to address that lacuna by articulating continuity as both a philosophical and architectural construct with specific implication for landscape heritage. Philosophers such as Henry Bergson and Martin Heidegger have offered influential conception of continuity. Bergson posited time not as a sequence of discrete moments, but as a continuous, indivisible flow in which memory and change are constituted. In creative evolution, he defined true continuity as self-generated movement, foundational to perception and consciousness. Heidegger, in Being and Time, similarly located continuity within the ontological process of becoming, where the past shapes the present and projects toward the future. Continuity is also culturally constructed. Some society conceptualize time through chronological metrics, chronos, and others on event focus, kairos, linking temporal experience to environmental or social rhythms. Continuity has been central to architecture since its origin. In architectural discourse, continuity is expressed both physically through the layering of historical strata, formal typologies, and material practices, and conceptually through the transition of design narratives, planning ideologies, and cultural traditions. As a spatial principle, continuity may be inscribed in elements ranging from minute architectural details to complex urban systems. It thereby offers a framework for engaging heritage, identity, and transformation across time. In the 1960s, continuity in urban design emphasized physical, visual, and sensory coherence. Thinkers like Jane Jacobs and Jan Gehl underscore the social and ecological value of continuous layered urban environments. From the late 20th century, ecological planning frameworks redefine continuity as an environmental interdependence. In essence, Ian McHugh's work promoted the philosophy of designing with nature that respected the continuity of ecological processes and advocated for a long-term adaptive approach to planning and development. McHugh viewed ecosystems as dynamic and constantly changing, not static landscape to be preserved in snapshot. His design process accounted for the ongoing evolution of these systems and the impacts of development on these processes. Currently, continuity, next, is discussed at the intersection of historic preservation, urban renewal, and sustainable development. Urban densification, on the one hand, and the contribution of the historic fabric to the identity and spirit of place encourage temporal and spatial continuity, both in tangible and intangible elements in fabrics. Tel Aviv Dizengoff Square, as part of the White City, or London King Cross, are examples where renewed spaces preserve historical structure while adapting to contemporary needs. Ultimately, continuity requires balancing change with identity, spatial coherence with ecological and social integration. The historic urban landscape approach, as formulated by UNESCO in 2011, calls for respectful incorporation of contemporary elements into historic testing, enhancing urban vitality while preserving heritage. Next. This perspective promotes coherent and continuity across planning levels, acknowledging not only architectural fabric but also design ideology, such as those shaping Tel Aviv White City. Here, continuity is expressed through Bauhaus aesthetics and modernist ideals of equality, openness, and technological progress. Environmental sustainability is also central. Preserving urban morphology, water drainage, vegetation, and old trees strengthen ecological balance. Examples such as the King Cross in London demonstrate how adaptive reuse can revitalize historic sites while maintaining landscape continuity. Despite its importance, continuity remains underexplored in both HUL theory and practice. This study identifies this gap and propose developing methodologies to assess and implement continuity as a core principle in historic urban renewal.
This study introduced a synthetic, interpretive, theoretical model designed to guide the assessment of historic landscape continuity within urban renewal contexts. Grounded in the principle of the historic urban landscape approach, the model addresses the complex interaction between time, place, typologies, and both tangible and intangible values, all viewed through the lens of sustainability and urbanism. The model, titled Continuity Historic Urban Landscape in the Dimension of Time and Place, consists of 6 stages. The first one is the place. Place serves as the foundation. It is the geographic and cultural starting point selected for research or planning in the context of historical urban renewal. Stratification of past time, represented as transparent spheres, the layers of the past reflected accumulated tangible and intangible values embodied in the landscape. Present time layers superimposed on the past, the present is examined in the relation to historical values identified, what remains, change, or conflicts. Future time dimensions, although not yet stratified, future planning considerations are introduced in relation to the established present and past layers. Integration of time and place, the built fabric, landscape, space, and continuity elements are analyzed across all temporal layers. A green circle symbolizes the evolving continuity and the growth of knowledge throughout the process. Urban and sustainability dimensions. Finally, the model evaluates how continuity and place qualities intersect with key planning goals, urban livability and long-term sustainability. The continuity elements identified in Ramat Aviv reveal a complex, multi-layered system of connection extended beyond the neighborhood's immediate temporal and spatial boundaries. The neighborhood's establishment on former agricultural lands of the Sheikh Muness village marks a temporal break where the area's ongoing history shifted into an urban fabric. The rapid construction in the 1950s as part of Israel's National Housing Project solidified the neighborhood land, roads, building typologies, and open spaces that still defines it today. Despite its relevantly short history and thin layering of time, a deeper investigation of Ramat Aviv open spaces through maps, photographs, field survey, and archival documents expose broader spatial temporal connection, notability, continuity, elements such as the urban and neighborhood level circulation routes and the east-west physical continuity of movement, sightline, and drainage trace back hundreds of years. This feature reflects an ancient agricultural path, natural terrain, and drainage patterns preserved despite urbanization. This example illustrates the merging of spatial and temporal continuities, combining physical and non-physical dimensions. Historically planned open spaces in Ramat Aviv form a continuous sequence along a central east-west axis, serving as the neighborhood pedestrian spine. Connected open space support adjacent land uses, including public buildings, commerce, services, and residence, creating an integrated system. A survey identified 6 distinct open spaces along this axis, chosen for their layered characteristic, including officially designed open spaces like Avner Boulevard and shared residential courtyards, as well as informal open areas such as Brodetsky Commercial Area. 9 continuity elements, both tangible, natural, and man-made, and intangible, were identified across these spaces, reflecting the layered nature of the fabric. Most elements appear in many spaces, while some are unique to a few, highlighting both the neighborhood's overall character and individual spatial uniqueness. 2 key intangible components present throughout: planning heritage and spatial interaction. Planning heritage includes the principle of garden city, modern housing, kibbutz garden narratives, and afforestation ideals embodied by the neighborhood's planners. Spatial interaction reflects social ideals from early Israeli society and contemporary goals of community resilience translated into planning guidelines, forestering, gathering, visibility, accessibility, shade, lighting, and garden furniture. Tangible continuity components such as urban circulation, physical continuity of space and sightline, exposed soil vegetation, and characteristic materials like carstone and concrete from the scenic identify pillars of the neighborhood. Those findings complement existing planning policy documents for Old Ramat Aviv, which focus mainly on built fabric. The proposed methodology allows guidelines that balance preservation, adaptive reuse, creativity, and flexibility in planning, maintaining continuity in design language within a local context.
The renewal and conservation processes in Ramat Aviv operate across multiple scales, from the urban system to neighborhood and specific local spaces. These changes occur both at the planning level of policy and legislation and in actual construction and development. Significant urban and neighborhood influences are evident in areas such as the Abner and Reading Boulevard, which serve as physical connectors between the neighborhood, the university, and major transportation arteries. Kiosks located along Abner Brodetsky and Reading Boulevard maintain a legacy of mixed uses, encouraging social interaction in public spaces. Preservation of local materials such as kurkar, stone, and concrete, alongside existing vegetation, is essential to sustaining neighborhood character. Open spaces are also subject to change. For example, the renovation of Bodetsky House, which retained its western wing while expanding eastward, affects adjacent green spaces. Protecting mature trees and enhancing open space connectivity support the continuity of the original planning heritage. Next. Alteration in shared residential courtyard, like those of Pichman Street, demonstrate the densification pressure that reduce open space and alter the balance between the built and the natural environments. Construction of underground parking impacts soil quality and mature trees, highlighting the tension between urban density and green open preservation. Planning policies required maintaining 20% permeable green areas, restricting fences to living hedges, and safeguarding pedestrian routes and public spaces continuity. These guidelines aim to protect critical continuity components such as the movement, physical connection, materiality, social interaction, and planning heritage. Lastly, next please. Maintaining the neighborhood characteristic modernist design language despite changes in construction materials is crucial. Reusing and preserving distinctive elements like car walls contributes to sustaining Ramat Aviv's unique local identity. And in conclusion, next please. The study suggests that the attribute of continuity connects the intangible dimension of time, past, present, and future, with the tangible physical dimension of place, fabric, space, and material. This notion of continuity is articulated through a theoretical model and a practical method that enable the identification and characterization of continuity component in historic open space within the evolving fabric of the city in terms of sustainability and urbanity. Thank you.